FPL players are left in the dark this game week without Salah, but we are going to use data analysis to pick between Chris Wood against Ipswich away, Haaland against Brighton at home, and Bruno against Leicester away. Starting with the non-penalty stats per 90 minutes, last season it wouldn't be surprised that Haaland tops the charts, but this season it actually is a bit of a surprise. Obviously his return rate's not been quite as high. I am quite surprised it's above Chris Wood. Chris Wood has actually nearly doubled his expected return points per 90 minutes. He's nearly got the highest return points, but his expected numbers are actually the lowest, which you would say is not as sustainable. But when you think about it, he has been keeping that up throughout the whole season. God knows how. Surely it's got to regress at some point. Bruno's numbers are exactly what you'd expect. They're not actually anything special, especially in comparison to Haaland. Despite Haaland's numbers not being as good as last season's, and that drop-off being there, he has still got the best numbers on the shortlist. Not only that, he is the only player that's 100% nailed on penalty duties on the shortlist. Let's not fall for the black and white thinking though. Wood and Bruno were practically nailed on them as well. If you think about it, 97% compared to 3% and 91% compared to 9%, you know which odds you're favouring. With Wood, it would go to Gibbs White probably, but that is a tiny little chance. With Bruno, it's slightly higher. I'm quite surprised how high it is. It would probably go to Xerxes by the looks of it. He's got a decent record, and I don't know what goes on behind closed doors, whether he's good at penalty duties or not, but the best ever penalty taker barely took any penalties at one point. He would have had no penalties at some point. You don't know how good he is at penalty duties. That's probably where the percentages come from, but we know Bruno's really good at them, and that's why the percentage is so high. We don't know how good Xerxes is at penalties. He's probably not as good as Bruno, to be fair, so I'd highly doubt that he would be taking them off Bruno. Without me seeing that data, I would have said Bruno's 100% nailed on penalty duties, but it is important to keep an open mind as well. Either way, Bruno's a set-piece specialist at United. He takes direct free kicks, indirect free kicks and corners. Wood doesn't get to take any of them, and Haaland's on direct free kicks occasionally. Moving on to the probability section, Haaland's got the highest anytime goal scorer odds this game week. He's more likely to score than not because his odds are above 50%. Bruno's got the highest anytime assister odds, but when you combine them both together, Haaland's got the best chance of returning. I know Bruno gets an additional point for every goal scored, but Haaland's odds are weighted massively towards goals, so it's not enough to compensate, and Haaland's anytime return odds are well above the other two players. I wouldn't say there's much between Bruno and Wood. Like I said, Bruno gets the additional point for every goal scored, but then Wood's odds are weighted more towards goals. I'd say they're practically neck and neck, with Haaland quite far ahead. Haaland dominates the points projections as well. He's got the highest figure overall on Fantasy Football Fix. He's a full point ahead of Wood in second place. FPL Review have got Bruno in second place. He's trailing by 0.7 points, but it's still Haaland in first place on their data model with 6.5 points. This next part is where it takes a dark turn for Haaland. His opponents Brighton have got much better defensive numbers than Bruno's opponents Leicester and Wood's opponents Ipswich, but to be fair, he does have the home advantage, whilst the other two players have to travel away from home. He does still have the most difficult fixture though if you think about it. Between the other two players, it is a bit of a toss-up to be honest with you. I wouldn't be able to decide who's got the worst defence out of the two. I'm recording this video before United's fixture against Sociedad in Europe. Now Bruno should probably feature in that one, so he'll get roughly 3 days worth of rest, which isn't ideal, but he's typically a 90-minute man. If he somehow wasn't to feature, you get a week's worth of rest just like Haaland and Wood do, which is ideal to be fair. But the main thing is I've not got any concerns over the fitness of any of these three players, unless say for example that Bruno picked up an injury in that match, then we just ignore him and consider the other two players. Actually thinking about it, if Bruno's fixture against Sociedad goes to extra time and he plays all 120 minutes 3 days before this fixture, that would completely rule him out as an option. Either way, he's my least favourite option anyway. The problem is that he's prone to playing deeper sometimes, and that's not the case with Haaland or Wood. You want your players close to goal if you want attacking returns from them. I know that he scored a free kick recently, and he can get goals from that, but so can the other two players from other avenues as well. So I'm going to say that Bruno's my least favourite option this game week. And apart from the opposition, I say Haaland's dominated most of it, so I think the best captain this game week is Haaland. The question is, should we buy him or not? And that will be answered in my team selection video. I will consider game week 30 captaincy as well, and whether we should sell Salah or not. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it.